Okay, this ought to be fun. Don't do this naturally for a living, so it is going to be what it is. But hello everyone, all my MFP friends, Facebook friends, people just coming to my site. I am having surgery on Monday, the 24th. I'm going to get a circumferential body lift. I started my journey back in May of 2009. At my maximum weight back then was 560 pounds. You know, from the very onset, I never had any notion, and nothing against people that had it done, but I was never going to do the bariatric surgeries or any of the bands. My whole philosophy, even back then, as severely depressed as I was, and well, sat in a chair with a loaded handgun for 3 days before I finally had that epiphany. There still was no way that I was going to do that, because in my mind, if I couldn't fix what was broke in my head, no surgeries or any intervention, even to use that as a tool, was going to help. And I've had friends that's had the bariatric surgeries, and they've had complications and stuff, and I just didn't want to go through that part. If I was either going to lose it naturally or die trying. So I started a website just to document this. If anybody out there, is in a position, and I know that it's, with me being at 311 pounds lost, things are a little different than somebody that, loses 40 or 50, but if you're looking to have the surgery done, as far as plastic surgery, tummy tuck, body lift, any of those, I just wanted to document it. I've been on YouTube and stuff, and I haven't seen a whole lot of, videos. There's a few on there, but nothing extensive, so. Being that I'm an IT networking geek, I figured nothing better than to throw something together and put it out there and let people follow me through this journey. I can't say that it's been an easy road. It's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of hard work. I've devoted the last 38 months to this process. I gave it everything that I have and still am. I started about 4 weeks ago eating in maintenance. I know that I'm going to be shut down for 8 to 10 weeks, so there's not going to be any lifting or cardio, so I wanted to get out of that calorie deficit, and I figured it was probably a good time anyway. My body's been running a calorie deficit for 37 straight months, and I figured it was time to just shut it down and eat at maintenance. For the most part, my weight's staying 249, 252. My MFP blog, MyFitnessPal's, where I track my calories and stuff, is set at 311 pounds lost, and I'm not changing it. I still weigh myself in every week, but like I said, my weight's just jumping around within that 3 to 5 pound range. So, and like I said, eating at maintenance, I was expecting that. I'm gonna show some pictures. I put some up on the website. I don't know if it'll be any different looking at it from a live camera angle than to what you see on there. I'm very fortunate that the majority of my loose skin is in my torso. I don't really have a whole lot in my face. Neck and stuff really is, considering the size of my face, if you look at that mower picture, which is actually the only picture that I have besides my Y membership picture that they took in my driver's license that year at 560 pounds. I'm very fortunate that I don't have a lot of loose skin in my neck. I do have some in my biceps. It's not enough that I'm worried about it. I mean, you can see a little bit, but it's not enough that I'm worried about getting it taken care of. I still think that in time, being that I'm avid weightlifter, and I was before this process, way back in football, when I played football in high school and stuff, I lifted weights all the time, so I did have a lot of underlying muscle even at 560 pounds that I worked with, as opposed to somebody that never lifted weights. But I power lifted back through high school, and even when I was in the service, that's what I did at 4 o'clock when we got off. It was either hit the bars or hit the gym, and I was always wanted to hit the gym and lift weights. So I had a base to work with even underneath all that 560 pounds. So I plan on, once I get through this surgery and whatnot, that I'm going to do the whole, eating at surplus. I want to play around with my diet more and, put on some, do some bulking stages and do some cutting phases and and you know, I never really got into that even back when I powerlifted and stuff back in school. So, you know, when I was young like that, I just ate whatever I wanted to eat, and of course, you know, that led me to my obesity. As far as loose skin and stuff in my legs and stuff, I've got this on a tripod, so bear with me. If I can get it to where I can get out of the light, you'll probably see our dogs on the ground, but you know, most of everything that I've got is in my midsection. My chest is a little saggy, but for the most part, I'm not worried about it. I want to get through the body lift part and get on the other side and see if I can't, you know, weight train enough to tighten up my chest to where, you know, it'll be halfway decent. Like I said, everything that I'm dealing with is in my midsection. There isn't a whole lot of fat left in there. It's just a lot of loose skin, and as you can see, more so to the front than to the back. But like I said, all this in the body lift, that's why I decided on the circumferential body lift, is it should alleviate this everything and tighten all this up. And he told me, my surgeon told me that he checked my abdominal muscles and stuff, and he said that they were pretty good. He might have to do a little abdominal repair, but he's not expecting a whole lot. And as far as my legs go, I'm very fortunate, except for upper thighs is the only place right on the inside. I've got a little bit here, but for losing 311 pounds, there's not a whole lot. I can deal with this. My shorts cover it up, and like I said, once the body lift, even though the body lift doesn't really pull this up too much on the inside, it does on the outside, which I don't have a whole lot out there. My legs are pretty rock hard. They always have been. My mom always said, I don't know if you're familiar with Major League Baseball players, but Pete Rose was always my idol. And my mom always said I had Pete Rose's thighs. But I have severely bad knees. I've been dealing with them for 15 years now. There's not much left. I've been working with my ortho guy for a long time now. We've done, you know, I do multiple rounds of shots. I do, you know, the knee injections. I'm on 3 different pain pills. I wear Donjoy knee braces to work out in. I'm to the stage now where I'm going to have knee replacements. We've just prolonged it. I wanted, you know, well, I needed to wait until I got on the other side of this process and see if I could get the weight off, because they wouldn't do anything until the weight was gone. So after the body lift and I heal up completely from it, my knee replacements will probably be sometime late spring is what I'm figuring. I'm going to have them both done at the same time, and that should complete my process. Like I said, I'm not too worried about getting any other surgery's done as far as plastic and my chest, arms, you know, none of that. I don't want to deal with the scars. The body lift scar is going to be, you know, below the waistline, and you know, I'm on the other side of 40 now, so as far as looking good and all that, you know, I just want to be able to go and buy a pair of loose fit Levi's and tuck my shirt in. It's as simple as that with me now. I haven't been able to wear jeans due to all this excess skin. I mean, I can wear jeans, but I just don't like the way it looks. So I'm always in, you know, elastic waist shorts or you know, something like that I can leave my shirt untucked. So when it really comes down to it, that's my whole simple philosophy, is to wear a pair of jeans and be able to tuck my shirt in and go out in public and feel good. So as far as that goes, this is my first video. I just wanted to do an initial one to get started. Talking into a camera is not my thing, never done it before, but hopefully this turned out halfway decent. I'm not going to do a whole lot of editing at this time, may do some later. We're exactly 7 days from surgery. Woke up this morning at my usual U.S. Army wake-up time of 5:45. It's embedded into my head. ever since I got out in '91. So I woke up and first thing I did was looked at the clock and said, yep, this time next week I'll be driving into the hospital to start my process. I got to be there 2 hours ahead. Surgery, like I said, was at 7. It's at 7:30. We are staying at a hotel after surgery. My doctor does not want me going home. I know some plastic surgeons will send you straight home after the surgery. Mine prefers that you stay in town overnight. Then he'll see you in the morning. So the hospital that we're going through, it's an outpatient. Riverside is the hospital, but they have an outpatient surgery center is where I'll be having the surgery done at. When I get done there, I go to an affiliate hotel that they use, and I'll be there. Actually, we're going down the night before, so we'll have that room. We'll know exactly where we're going to be, the night before. So when we get done with surgery, we'll go back to the same hotel, same room, and I'll be there that evening. And then first thing Tuesday morning, I'll go back to the doctor's office. He'll check my drains. I'll have 4 of them in, 2 draining from the back, 2 from the front. And once he checks those out and changes my bandages, he should release me to go home if everything is, good. And I'll make the 90-minute trek home in the car, which I'm hoping I'm still pretty much out of it at that point. We'll see. Pain medicine after that will be Percocet. So, and I'm not a big fan of prescription medications. My endocrinologist and my doctor to get me to take the pain pills had to work on me because I lost my sister back a few years back in the late 90s, 97. She abused prescription drugs, so we went through detox with her several times, and she was on a lot of pretty strong prescription medications, and to see what it did to her, and it eventually cost her life. I have mixed emotions about taking anything that is prescribed by a doctor. So, I'll take them, to manage the pain as long as I need to, and then I'll get off of them. My pain meds now are NSAIDs and Tramadol, and they don't really do a whole lot other than to just take the edge off for my knees, but that's really all I need. My pain tolerance is pretty high, so I put up with quite a bit. My MFP friends, if you knew them, they can tell you that by seeing my exercise logs. Exercise and stuff that I do now with my braces, I tend to stick to seated elliptical or elliptical. It's my 2 favorites. I will get out and walk trails and stuff in the summertime just to break the monotony and get out of the gym. And in the wintertime, I like to go to the YMCA. So I started working with a swim coach last year to start doing laps and stuff in the winter months. I stay pretty active. I do get in quite a bit of cardio, and like I said, I lift 3 days a week. I'm nursing a pinched nerve in my neck. I was supposed to actually have my body lift done on July the 23rd, but ahead of that, we were trying to get things done. And power washing the house, I pinched a nerve at C5, C6, and it pretty much paralyzed my right arm, left my entire hand numb. I can only feel the outside of my pinky. And I've been actually since then trying to get it to heal up. They finally cleared me for this surgery coming up on the 24th, but it's not healed by any means. And my family physician, even after PT, and my PT therapist, they work with me with my knees. They've been through me through this whole weight loss. Said it could take 6 to 9 months for this to completely heal up. So I'm still dealing with it. It runs down my, the pinched nerves up here, and then it runs down through my shoulder and down into my forearm. So I'm trying to mind my P's and Q's and not overdo it. I did that a few weeks back and re-pinched it. I got a little too aggressive with my weights and pinched it again, but luckily it wasn't severe enough that I had a hard relapse. It was I didn't lose any feeling in my hand. I still had the majority of my strength. I'm about 70% strength in my right arm compared to my left. It was 30, so big improvement from then. So we kept the surgery date, and actually my family physician said that the only way I'm going to get you to shut it down is to make you have this surgery, because I know you're going to be laid up for a couple months. So I'm hoping in that time, I've been, like I said, I've been at this over 3 years, so my body could, it really needs a rest. I have not taken more than a couple days off at a stretch through this whole process. I'm a big advocate of exercise in any form that I can get it in, no matter how bad my knees are hurting. If I have to sit down to ride a bike or do the seated elliptical or whatever it's going to take, I stick to my exercise. And I think a lot of that has to do, going through my physical or my mental therapy with my therapist. You don't really get rid of an addiction. You replace an addiction with another. And I think my trade-off, and we joke about this when I go to my monthly meetings, that I traded my food addiction for a exercise addiction, which isn't a bad trade-off considering where I was. Back in 2009, that stretch when I finally had to quit my job in the fall of '07, I came home. It was probably the worst thing I did because I fell into a bigger state of depression, and I never left the house from '07 to '09, other than to drive my wife to the grocery store and sit in the parking lot. That's all that I could, that's all that I could manage as far as on my feet. And over that '07 to '09, I put on another 140 pounds. Severe depression. I was just eating myself to death, and my family was walking on glass because anytime they tried an intervention, it was always, "You have the effing problem. I don't. Get out of my face." And I'm very fortunate that my family stuck with me. It was that time at Thanksgiving of '09. Or '08, I should say, leading in, that was the first epiphany that I had. I was sitting out here in my living room working on my 5th plate of food, and I heard a bunch of laughing and joking and camaraderie, and I noticed that I was the only one in here. Everybody else was out in the other room. And it was at that point that I finally realized that my family had decided that they were just going to love me from afar, because it was too hard to love me up close because of what I was doing to myself, and they had just resigned to the fact that I was going to eat myself to death. And they were moving on with their life and leaving me to my vices. And same thing happened at Christmas time, and that's when my safe haven of these 4 walls that I'm sitting in right now, that that I felt comfortable in, started to actually close in on me, and they felt like I was in a prison. And over the course of that spring, then that's when I realized that as those walls kept getting taller and taller, and I just felt suffocated, that that depression was just taking hold, and it led me to that 3 days in the chair with a loaded handgun. So I was getting off topic and stuff, but just to give you a little idea of where I've come from. Still a work in progress. Still going to therapy. Probably will be for quite a while. My visits are fewer and farther in between now. I am to the point now where I only have to see him every 5 to 6 weeks, but I still like to go and work. I work through the 12-step program, same thing that alcohol and drug addicts go through. My drug of choice was food. So I went through the 12-step process and, came out the other side of it. And, the 12th step in that process is paying it forward. And that's the whole mentality of, my future. When I first went to see my psychiatrist, I sat across the table from him, and it took a good 5 to 6 weeks to warm up to the fact that every time I looked at the guy at 160 pounds running 5-minute mile marathons, how can you possibly know what I'm going through? I just couldn't fathom that you could have any idea of what I was dealing with. So now being on the other side of it, I realized that it would be nice to be there for somebody that is exactly where I was 3 years ago, and needs to be sitting across from somebody at the table that can say, "Hey, I was there. I know exactly what you're going through, and I'm here to help." So that's that's the reason why I've put myself out here. Social phobia was a big thing with me over that span. It had pretty much pushed me into a corner. I hadn't stepped foot inside a department store in over 7 years, leading up to probably, I think it was it wasn't until the spring of 2011, fall 2010 maybe, right around Christmas, that I actually started going into stores. And I had to start small. I was going into dollar stores when they'd first opened, when nobody was in there. That was part of my therapy that I was going through, is to manage going into a place like that and coming out. Next time, go in a few hours later when it was a little bit more busy, and I had to build that up. And there's still times when I have panic attacks. I had one. It's been a while, but the last one that I had, they had a Nickelodeon concert at our fair, and it's the first time I went to the fair last year, and there was 10,000 people in the midway waiting to get into the grandstands to see this act, and it hit me then, and I wasn't expecting it because it had been quite a while since I had had one of those panic attacks, but it still gripped me really hard. I had to get off the midway and get back into the back off beaten path and stop hyperventilating. And you know, those incidents are fewer and farther in between, but I did have to work through all that stuff to get to where I am today. So I'm going to end this now. Like I said, 1 week out from surgery. Come check my blog out. I'm going to do more video blogging. I've got my camcorder, so I will be taking it with me to down to the hotel. So my wife will be shooting some stuff. You know, I'll shoot some stuff probably the night before. I may do one more video in between now and then. You know, maybe towards the end of this week, get end of Friday, and. You know, right now I'm relatively calm. Inside I may not be, you know, every time I think about it, you know, then I start getting a little bit upset about it. But I know it's a process that I've got to go through. I know that the means to get through this and come out the other side far outweigh any pain that I'm going to go through over, you know, a short period of time. So, I just got to get to the surgery and get on the other side of it. So thank you for, you know, coming and checking out my blog. I'll be doing more soon. Thank you.